Shalom, this is Rabbi Jeremy Lawrence from the Great Synagogue in Sydney. This week's Parsha is Parshat Mishpatim, which follows on immediately after the Ten Commandments. It introduces quite a comprehensive body of legislation. Importantly, Parshat Mishpatim establishes a Jewish ethic for health and healing. When someone is injured, the Torah prescribes 5 types of compensation that must be paid. These are depreciation for the damage that has been caused, compensation for the pain, remuneration for the treatment, compensation for loss of time or earnings, and finally damages for degradation or embarrassment. The expression that is used by the Torah to establish responsibility for treatment is v'rapo yerapeh, which is translated as, and he paid for his complete cure, or, and make him thoroughly healed. From these translations come 2 very significant ideas, which we quite possibly take for granted in today's society. First, the duty to heal. A couple of weeks ago in Parshat Beshalach, God had stated, Ani Hashem Rofecha, I am God, your healer. We may have thought from this that medicine was God's exclusive domain. We may have imagined that all healing was only in God's hands, and that perhaps it would be inappropriate or even heretical for us to interfere with healing. Indeed, there are cultures that believe that all suffering and illness is God's will, so that if you become injured or ill, the only appropriate remedy is through prayer. Our Parsha teaches us that from a Jewish perspective, this is not the case. The verse, V'rapo yerapeh, immediately gives doctors the license to practice medicine. Moreover, inasmuch as God admits for doctors to heal, there is an implicit invitation for medical expertise and an opening for the pursuit of medical knowledge and scientific study and research. It is a mitzvah to heal, and important that we are equipped to perform that holy mission. Our simple phrase, v'rapo yerapeh, underpins an important argument in establishing just how far we are able to progress in all manners of research. The second significant idea from v'rapo yerapeh is that a fee for healing is billable. Of course, we take it for granted today, but it is noteworthy that the Torah doesn't make the assumption that it's such a mitzvah to make people better that no one should dream of charging for their services. Of course, it is a mitzvah. Nonetheless, those who service and maintain the living are entitled to make a living of their own. In the Mishnah, we read that King Hezekiah concealed an important tome known as the Book of Remedies. Given that it was hidden, we don't know exactly what it contained. According to one opinion, it was a volume of medical wisdom, and according to another, it contained charms, incantations, and potions which would enable speedy recovery from any malady. Assuming that one of these was the case, the Mishnah praises King Hezekiah from concealing it. Why on earth should the burial of the Book of Remedies be so meritorious? Our commentaries suggest that if, as soon as you are ill, you simply apply a magical remedy, you'll never stop to reflect upon the fragility of your own body, the responsibility to look after yourself, and for sure you would never dream of praying for God and acknowledging his assistance at all. Even though we are told to entrust medical matters to the doctors, we still believe that they are God's partners and are not solely responsible in the healing process. Ultimately, God is our healer, and not everything is in human hands. We reinforce this idea when we perform the mitzvah of bikur cholim, or visiting the sick. The mitzvah is not completed if we simply turn up in the patient's room with chicken soup and flowers or grapes, and we wish the patient better. To perform the mitzvah of bikur cholim properly, we must wish the patient that God grant him or her a speedy recovery. And in this way, we bring a spiritual dimension into the simplest of kindnesses that we perform. We turn kindness into godliness, and we act in the image of God. To all of our members and friends who are in hospital this week, may God grant you a refuah shlema b'toch sha'ar cholei Yisrael, a speedy and a complete recovery. This is Rabbi Jeremy Lawrence from the Great Synagogue in Sydney, wishing you good health and Shabbat Shalom.